going to jump into what an underactive is, which is lack of energy flow to that chakra, to that energy center. So the first and possibly most obvious symptom is not being passionate about anything, not being passionate about certain aspects of your life, or just your whole entire life in general. You're just not a very passionate person. When you do projects or when you do things, you don't really throw your passion into it. You don't really give things your all. You're just kind of like, passive about things that make you happy. You're not really in tune with what makes you happy to begin with. That's a big symptom of having underactive sacral chakra. You could also be experiencing being very emotionally detached, right? A sociopath is a great example of somebody with an extreme underactive sacral chakra. You could also be feeling very numb to your own emotions and not really know how to read the emotions of others. You're not very empathic. So you could have a hard time relating to others and their emotions just in general, right? If you're not very good at reading people, that's an imbalance, right? So a lot of the time, these individuals are subconsciously afraid to feel these emotions because of their own traumas in their past. And, someone at some point in time, maybe in childhood or something, made them feel as if it wasn't okay to kind of feel these natural emotions, the anger, the sadness, the things that kind of, emotions are very real. And we don't need to just embrace the positive emotions. We need to also embrace the kind of negative seeming emotions so we can work through them because they're all very natural to us. We can't just only choose to have positive emotions but then choose to ignore the negative emotions. If you choose to ignore the negative emotions and store them up and bottle them up inside, they create energetic blockages wherever you store them, right? So that's very important to know. So letting it go in a healthy way, expressing those emotions, if you need to scream or if you need to punch on a punching bag or find whatever positive outlet that helps you transmute that energy and really work through those seemingly negative emotions, right? We have an emotional guidance system. So when we feel certain emotions, that is supposed to be an alert to us about, it's supposed to be an indicator. It's kind of like a check engine light, right? But a lot of us don't really know what that means. We're like, okay, I'm in my vessel, I'm in my little car, aka our body, right? And I see my little check engine lights on, aka having anxiety or being angry or whatever. But some people don't really know what the little light means. They're like, I don't know what the surface light means, or I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know, So we gotta work on that. We gotta fix that. We gotta kind of learn how to be our own therapist, right? And ask our own self the right questions. What did I go through in childhood that is making me have this belief system right now? What did I go through in childhood? What did somebody tell me that makes me have these certain beliefs, right? Like, why did I develop my mentality that I have now around these topics? We got to do the deep diving, got to do the work, right? You have an extremely hard time feeling creative, being creative. You always tell yourself, oh, well, I'm not a very creative person. That feeling of not being creative and being in tune with your passion, that's definitely an underactive sacral chakra, right? If you're feeling kind of stuck in your life, like you're not progressing and moving forward, that's definitely a symptom of an underactive sacral chakra. Writers call it like writer's block, for example. If you have any kind of like creative block, you can't write music like you normally would, or you can't sing like you normally would, or you can't the things that you're good at, you kind of have some sort of blockage to it, right? And so, yeah, let's not forget also that this chakra is associated with creation and birthing and procreating organs. So that also means energetically, this sacral chakra governs our ability to birth new ideas and concepts as well. So another symptom is being extremely controlling. Let's not forget that this chakra governs our fluidity and our ability to kind of just go with the flow and be fluid with things, right? So we could be an extreme creature of habit, kind of not knowing how to cope with the plans changing, with things switching up you can't really cope with change in general. You're so stuck to your habits and you're so stuck to your routines that is where you feel safe and that is where you feel comfortable. And you will never try to branch out and do new things or think outside the box, or, because you are afraid to do that. Somewhere along the lines, somebody or something, a situation made you feel as though that is the safe thing to do psychologically. So another symptom is working way too much and not knowing how to play, like all work and no play. Neglecting your relationships, neglecting your connection with others so you can work, so you can be very serious and anal about things. If somebody's kind of like cracking a joke with you and they don't mean any harm, it's kind of just harmless, just poking fun at you, and you don't understand and you get all defensive and offended and, well, I'm not like that, don't know how to laugh at yourself. You're insecure or having self-esteem issues, and being insecure or having self-esteem issues is definitely governed by the sacral chakra. So if you don't like your own appearance, even though our physical is kind of governed by that root chakra, if you're not passionate about your physical appearance, that's when these two start to overlap, right? Anything that you are passionate about or use your creativity for is governed by the sacral chakra. So it could run into other things that are governed by other chakras. So for example, if you find that you cannot make money off what you are passionate about, if you hate your job, if you hate your foundational structures, if you hate how you gain finances, that is also an imbalance of the root chakra, because the financial situation, the foundations. But that's also an imbalance of the sacral chakra, because it has to do with being passionate about your foundational structure, being passionate about how you're making money and how you're pulling that in. And so even though you could be raking in cash, if you hate your job, maybe your root chakra is good to go, but your sacral will be screwed up, right? So they're all interconnected. They all kind of play off of each other for different aspects, right? So another symptom could be if you're very shy or socially awkward in situations, like feeling like you don't know how to connect with others, you don't know how you would fit into their life, you're just randomly assuming people are not gonna like you. What place could they have for me in their life? Like, you don't really feel that sense of self-worth when it comes to connecting with others, the self-esteem issues with that, right? So you won't really know where you stand with others. Do they like me? Do they not like me? I don't know. Withdrawn behavior, especially in social situations, is definitely a symptom of sacral chakra imbalance, right? Being abused or having any kind of sexual traumas, such as molestation or rape or, anything like that in their past. My heart really goes out to any victims of or any survivors, I should say, of any of that. You're definitely not alone. I have been through that firsthand, and I know it can be so difficult to kind of get over and move through and forgive and kind of move on. I get it. But this often leads to feeling guilt or shame around sexuality in general, just in your life. After those experiences kind of happen, for some reason, we kind of develop a psychological blockage with shame and guilt. And don't forget that shame and guilt are housed in the sacral chakra, so that has something to do with it, and sexuality also has something to do with it, because obviously the sacral governs that as well. So if you don't feel comfortable being intimate with others, so say for example, you just feel weird about hugging people, like it doesn't have to be a relationship like you're dating somebody. It could be just any relationship in general. I know for a long time I had a hard time like looking males in the eyes and like hugging male family members, and you know what I mean, like it's a strange psychology. So you kind of have to take a look at stuff like that, like why do I feel so kind of shy and introverted, and how come I have a bouncy personality, but the second a certain situation comes up or a certain person gets thrown into the mix, why do I have this kind of reaction, right? Especially when it comes to sexual situations. Another symptom is if you use sexual behavior to escape your emotions, right? This is a symptom, basically if you're trying anything in general to escape your emotions, that's definitely grounds for imbalance, right? Physical manifestations of not enough energy flowing to the sacral is lower back pain, pelvic or hip issues, issues with your kidney, infertility issues, because don't forget, the sacral chakra is directly associated with creating, creativity, and procreation. It is the creation center, so our ability to create children. And if you're a male and you have male sexual organs, then this means that you may have a low sperm count or whatever, right? And so STDs is an imbalance of sacral, urinary problems, you know, if you have like a leaky bladder, you know, also dehydration is a major physical manifestation, because also let's not forget that the sacral is associated with the water element, right? So the vibration of water is governed by our sacral chakra. So if we don't have enough water in our body, it's kind of that water energy brings that vibration and brings that energy flow. It helps bring that energy flow to our sacral. So if we're dehydrated, it's not getting enough energy flow. Alrighty, you guys, so those are the symptoms that I felt the need to throw out there for an underactive sacral chakra. So stay tuned to see how we can balance the underactive and overactive chakra out. Like, what can we do, right? What activities help us? If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I highly recommend you go back and see that. I hope you have an amazing day, you guys. If you have not already, subscribe below, hit the little notification bell button so you get my future videos. It's kind of a series. We're going to be going through all the chakras and many other related topics. I hope you all have an amazing day.